This is Impact on BBC World News. Welcome back. We're going to turn to Iran now and bring you up to date with the story of a young one who died in custody after being arrested by morality police for wearing the wrong outfit. 22-year-old Mahsa Amini fell into a coma last week, hours after the Iranian police held her for allegedly breaking hijab rules. She died in hospital 3 days later. Her death sparked protests in the capital Tehran and in western Iran too. Rights groups say at least 2 people were reportedly killed in clashes with riot police. With me is Baran Abbasi from BBC Persian. Thanks very much for coming. So what's happening there in Iran today?
Protests have intensified and spread to more cities across the country. At least 7 provinces are witnessing protests. Today, mostly universities and also her hometown in Kurdistan have been witnessing protests against the death of Mahsa Amini and also the compulsory hijab rule and the way the police have been treating women. It seems that women have been taking the leading role in the protests. They've been taking off their headscarves, waving it above their heads, setting them on fire, facing up with the police, and also chanting slogans against the supreme leader of Iran, whom they hold responsible personally for what happened to Mahsa Amini and other protesters in the past who've died in police custody or during the protests.
Interesting. And let's go back to the original incident itself. Do we have any more details? What do we know about what actually happened?
The police have said that she was not mistreated because she traveled from a small town in the west of Iran to Tehran, the capital, to visit the family, and she was picked up by the morality police. And then she went into a coma whilst in police custody and passed away. The police say she was not mistreated and she was not physically harmed, but there are eyewitnesses who say that she was beaten up, and the police have said that she might have had some underlying health issues, which has been denied by the family, who say she was perfectly healthy. And
what was the allegation of wrongdoing? What, in the police's eyes, had she done? Do we know that?
There is this strict law about how women are supposed to be dressed in public. She was wearing a headscarf and a long robe, but it's very subjective. There are not written guidelines saying how women should be dressed. So someone else wearing the same outfit might not have been arrested, but she was arrested and picked up because that particular police officer deemed her to be wearing the wrong outfit.
Interesting. And this has sparked clearly huge passions right across the country and wider criticisms of the authorities there.
Absolutely. Inside Iran, there are calls even by some officials in the government, some lawmakers and some former officials asking for the morality police to be removed from the streets. Some are asking for the abolishment of the compulsory hijab law. And outside of Iran, the United States has condemned her death, Mahsa Amini's death, has called for accountability. The EU, the United Nations, France in particular, have condemned it and called it appalling.
And just given your experience, when you see protests like this, when you see a movement like this, what are the chances of anything changing, anything happening because of them?
It's unlikely. These are the worst protests since last year, when people took to the streets because of the shortage of water. The protests are happening more frequently in Iran, but usually they're cracked down on in a matter of a few days, and because they don't have a leader and they're not organized, they usually die down after a few days, although the government accuses the protesters of having been organized about this particular protest in recent days. They say that they were trained in advance to create unrest, but this is what the government always says. The fact that they don't have a leader and they were quite spontaneous means that they're going to die down soon from the experience. Yeah.
Interesting.